Willowbrook University stood proudly as one of the nation's top academic institutions. With ivy-covered buildings and state-of-the-art facilities, it attracted students from across the country. But beneath the prestigious exterior, something unsettling was happening. Whispers circulated about certain campus police officers who took their authority too far, particularly with female students. Rumors of aggressive searches, inappropriate comments, and intimidating behavior spread through dorm rooms and study halls. Despite numerous student complaints, nothing ever seemed to change. Campus officers Bennett and Sullivan had targeted students for months with aggressive searches and intimidation tactics. Sophia Carter arrived as just another freshman, navigating her first semester. Quiet and studious, she kept mostly to herself, her gentle demeanor making her seem almost invisible in the bustling campus. She spoke softly when addressed and often kept her eyes downcast. Her roommates worried that her shy nature might make her vulnerable in the competitive university setting. Most days, Sophia could be found in the library or hurrying between classes with her backpack clutched tightly. She had made a few friends, including her outspoken roommate Lauren, who had taken Sophia under her wing and invited her to join the debate club. One Thursday evening, Sophia and her friends were returning from debate practice. The campus was quiet as darkness fell. Their laughter echoed across the quad until the flashing lights of a campus police car brought them to a halt. Officers Bennett and Sullivan stepped out. They concurrent hash map were well-known figures around campus, though not for positive reasons. Officer Bennett was tall with a perpetual scowl, while Officer Sullivan made up for his shorter stature with an aggressive stance that intimidated most students. They informed the group they were conducting a routine checkpoint for prohibited items. The officers ordered the students to empty their bags on the patrol car hood. Sophia complied immediately, carefully placing her belongings on the cold metal surface. Her hands trembled slightly as she followed their instructions without question. When Lauren hesitated, asking why they needed to go through her personal photos, Officer Bennett grabbed her wrist, applying just enough pressure to make her wince. His face came within inches of hers as he questioned whether she was challenging his authority. The message was clear: comply or face consequences. Sophia watched with wide eyes, her face pale with fear. She observed how quickly Lauren backed down, apologizing and handing over her phone. The officers eventually let them go with a warning about curfew violations, though curfew was still 2 hours away. Back at their dormitory, the girls gathered in Sophia's room, still shaken. Lauren paced back and forth, explaining this wasn't the first time these officers had targeted students. She told Sophia about other incidents, how Bennett and Sullivan seemed to patrol areas where female students gathered, how they conducted searches that felt more like harassment, and how complaints mysteriously disappeared. Sophia listened silently, absorbing every detail as fear settled in her stomach. Days passed, and Sophia became more withdrawn. She started taking different routes to class, her eyes constantly scanning for the patrol car. She noticed how other students did the same, changing their behavior, traveling in groups, and texting warnings when the officers were spotted. It was an unspoken system of protection that shouldn't have been necessary. 2 weeks after the checkpoint incident, Sophia was walking back from the library alone. The evening had grown dark faster than expected. She quickened her pace, clutching her books tightly. The sound of an engine approaching made her freeze. A patrol car pulled alongside her, and her heart sank when Officers Bennett and Sullivan stepped out. Officer Sullivan demanded a bag check without explanation. There was no one else around, no witnesses to whatever might happen next. Sophia silently handed over her backpack, which they emptied onto their car hood without care. After finding nothing of interest, Officer Bennett took her phone, scrolling through her messages and photos without permission. The officers exchanged glances, and something in their demeanor shifted. Officer Sullivan stepped closer, invading her personal space as he announced they needed to conduct a more thorough search. His eyes traveled down her body in a way that made Sophia's skin crawl. Then came the demand that would change everything. He ordered her to lift her skirt. Sophia stood perfectly still, her face betraying no emotion beyond the expected fear. In a voice that was soft but surprisingly steady, she asked if a female officer could perform the search instead, as was her right. This simple request angered both officers. They exchanged irritated glances, clearly not accustomed to having their authority questioned by someone as seemingly meek as Sophia. Officer Bennett stepped forward, his posture intimidating as he laid out her options: comply immediately or be taken to the campus police station. When Sophia hesitated, Officer Bennett lost patience. He reached forward and grabbed the hem of her skirt, yanking it upward with unnecessary force. The fabric tore with a sound that seemed to echo in the empty campus night. Finding nothing in their illegal search, they pushed her aside, her belongings still scattered. They got into the patrol car and drove away, leaving Sophia alone in the darkness, her torn clothing clutched in trembling hands as tears streamed down her face. For the next 3 days, Sophia was barely seen around campus. Her roommates reported she spent most of her time in her room, emerging only for classes. Meanwhile, Officers Bennett and Sullivan continued their patrol duties as usual, showing no concern for their actions. They had no reason to believe this incident would be different from others, just another frightened student too intimidated to report them. 3 days after the incident, Bennett and Sullivan received an unexpected summons from Police Commissioner Hayes. When they entered the commissioner's office, the sight that greeted them caused them to stop dead in their tracks. Sitting calmly beside the commissioner's desk was the quiet freshman they had harassed days before. Sophia looked different, somehow her posture straight, her eyes direct and unwavering as they locked onto the officers. The commissioner gestured for them to sit, his expression grave. What he said next changed everything. He introduced Sophia Carter not as a freshman student, but as Officer Sophia Carter from the State Internal Affairs Division. The color drained from both officers' faces as the truth hit them. The timid, vulnerable student they had targeted was actually an undercover officer investigating their misconduct. For 6 weeks, Sophia had been gathering evidence about the pattern of harassment that had plagued female students for too long. Sophia stood, her entire demeanor transformed. Gone was the shy freshman. In her place stood a confident law enforcement professional. She informed them that she had been wearing a body camera during both encounters, including when they tore her clothing during the illegal search. The commissioner played the footage, showing their aggressive behavior, inappropriate comments, and finally the assault when Officer Bennett tore Sophia's clothing. The evidence was irrefutable. After years of ignored complaints, the state police had finally launched a covert operation. No one on campus, except a few administrators, had known that the quiet new transfer student was actually a trained officer gathering evidence. Within days, both officers were dismissed and charged with assault and misconduct. Sophia's operation had uncovered systemic issues within campus security, leading to a complete overhaul with new training requirements, oversight mechanisms, and a transparent reporting system for student complaints. For the students of Willowbrook University, especially those who had suffered in silence, justice had finally been served. The campus felt safer, all because these officers had chosen the wrong, helpless freshman to target someone who had the training, authority, and courage to expose their abuse of power. Have you ever wondered how many other undercover operations might be happening around us right now, working silently to bring justice where traditional systems have failed?